Hey everybody, this is Ian, and this is another lesson in the HTML Basics series. Today we're going to try and wrap up some of the stuff we've learned in the last 4 lessons. You've learned the basics of how a web page is created, you've learned about headings and paragraphs, you've learned about lists and links. Now we're going to pull it all together, and I'm going to show you how to actually go into a content management system known as WordPress and add and edit both a post and a page. Those are two kinds of text content that WordPress has. WordPress is a content management system. Probably most familiar with it as a blog. And this is an example. This is Yoast.com. Yoast is one of the world's kind of geniuses of blogging, and he just released a really cool tool today, so he's kind of first on my mind, so I'm using his blog as an example. Yoast, you can pass me $50 later. But this is a pretty nicely set up, customized WordPress blog. When you first get WordPress, when it's first set up, it could look like this. It could also look like a very basic website, like this. However it looks, the first thing you're going to think when someone just hands it over and says, okay, start working on it, is, oh my God, what do I do now? Well, one step at a time. First thing you got to do is log in. So you're going to go to an address that they should give you, but if they don't, try something like the web address of the site, like www.mysite.com/wp-admin. That's a pretty common address. So you hit that, and that'll take you to some kind of login page. You type in your username and password, and it'll bring you to a page like this. This is the WordPress dashboard. I'm not going to worry too much about this right now. Instead, I'm going to go straight to posts. So you see right here on the left-hand side is kind of a little set of controls. If I click on posts and I click add new, so we'll say that someone's just given me a whole bunch of content to put on a page. This is the title of my post, and then I'm going to cheat and just steal some content from this site. Don't worry, it's not going live on the internet. And I can just paste it in. And you'd be typing it in, hopefully, and not copying it from another website. But there you go. You'll notice that this works a lot like a typical word processor right now. I have it in what's called visual mode. I prefer to work in HTML mode. The reason for that is it gives you more control, and that's why I've been teaching you how to use all these different tags and all these different HTML elements. For example, if you look right here, see where it says your child's academic journey. You see how that apostrophe is the correct format? It's got that little curly Q. Well, the truth is, it's not actually right. It's going to actually cause problems in some browsers because it's a special character that most browsers aren't going to make look right. It'll show up as some crazy character like a box or something like that. So if you do this in HTML mode, if you type it in using the HTML editor, you won't run into problems like that. There's very few surprises because you know exactly what you're going to get because you're typing this in using the code, and that's why I think it is important to know all those different tags. And I'll end my sermon now about HTML. So we're going to work in the HTML tab. So let's say you put in all this text, and now you just want to see how it's going to look. You can click preview, and it'll show up using the same template that your site is using, whatever that is. So if the site looks like this, it'll show up previewed in this. If it's this site that looks like this, it'll show up previewed in this. Here, I'm using this very basic WordPress startup theme, and I type in all my content. Depending on the site you're on, you may need to pick a category. Over here under categories, you may want to add tags. So just add them separated with commas. Now if I'm not ready to publish, I can just say save draft. I wouldn't worry too much about these two items yet. They're reasonably automatic depending on what you're doing. I can teach you more about those another time. And you can change whether you want it to publish right now or later on. By the way, if you want the scheduling part to work, see here where it says WordPress 2.9.1 is available, please update now. You need to do that update, otherwise it's not going to work. So make sure you do use that you do this update, and that way this scheduling feature will work. So you click publish. Doesn't look like a whole lot happened, does it? But if I refresh, notice here's my post. And if I click to drill into the site, here it is on its own page. Here it is. You can put comments down at the bottom, all sorts of cool stuff. That's the very basics. Notice, I don't have to put paragraph tags around all my paragraphs. That's because WordPress is actually going to convert all these double line breaks, where I went like this, into a paragraph tag when it goes live on the site. So that's one HTML tag I taught you that you don't necessarily have to worry about, but it's good to know because if something goes wrong, you can always look for it. Now, if you want to create a list, if you remember, nothing new here. Just go unordered list if you want it to be an unordered list. When you click Update Post, notice it's now showing up right here. It's that easy. So now that you know how to do this, you can take all the stuff that I showed you in the previous 4 lessons and you can apply it right here. There are some shortcuts, and I'm going to show you those now. You see that there's these buttons up across the top of the editing window. If you want to create a link, instead of having to type the ahref, blah, 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 all the extra stuff, you can just highlight the text you want to turn into a link, click the link button, type in the address you want to point to, hit OK, and it automatically will surround the text you highlighted with an ahref. So that's now a link. And if I click Update Post, there's your link. And if I click it, it's going to take me to the right website. There you go. So pretty straightforward stuff. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. Next time we'll be talking about editing pages. I decided to split this into 2 chunks because I see that this has gone a little bit long. And after that, we'll talk about uploading images and some of the more advanced features of WordPress. Thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you soon.